criminal defense attorney David Oscar Markus, who is joining me now. And obviously, I should also note that you were once offered to be, Trump sought you out to potentially be on his legal team for another case, the one in Florida, I believe. And as you're watching this, you are not the attorney in the room here today, but what do you believe, David, is the most important thing for Todd Blanche to do as he is developing this line of questioning of Michael Cohen?
Sure. It's do or die day for the defense, Kaitlan. I mean, I think Todd needs a knockout punch today to win this case. They need to really undermine Michael Cohen, and they need to make the case all about Michael Cohen. I think it's risky for the prosecution to end their case with their most incredible witness, and this is what the jury's going to be left with for the whole weekend. And in closing next week, if I'm the defense lawyer, I make it all about Michael Cohen. I say it's not about whether the president had sex with Stormy Daniels or whether he paid Stormy Daniels. It's about these false business records. And here's why you can't believe Cohen.
And right now, Todd Blanche is bringing up Cohen when he went on CNN in March of 2023, just over a year ago, and kind of referred to this as David versus Goliath, obviously himself and former President Trump. And right now, Cohen is confirming that he does view himself as David and Trump is Goliath. I mean, this is the less sensational of previous comments from Michael Cohen compared to what the jury had to listen to on Tuesday. But Blanche is asking him, you actually said on March 30th, before this indictment was unsealed, that you had Goliath on his back, didn't you? What's Todd Blanche trying to get at by implying that Michael Cohen knew that this was coming? I mean, he spoke to prosecutors. I should note he testified the other day, 2 weeks before Trump was actually indicted in this case.
Right. I guess he's trying to make him out to be an insider and that he had inside information. He was in bed with the prosecution of case. Of course, I think, Todd should follow this up with, how many times did you meet with him? Go through the specific meetings. Did you prepare? Who was playing the cross-examiner in the DA's office? You can really go after his credibility by showing that he was rehearsed. I might ask him, why did you name your book Revenge instead of Rehearsed? How many times did you rehearse your testimony in this case? And jurors don't like lawyers, Kaitlan, especially lying lawyers. And that's what I would make this case about if I was Todd Blanche.
What do jurors think, though, of a defense team that has, a tense relationship with the judge at times? I mean, the judge has been fair from what I've viewed inside the courtroom. Sometimes he sides with the prosecution when they make a motion. Sometimes he sides with the defense. Todd Blanche just asked to approach the bench. That would have been for the fourth time that they had a sidebar this morning. And Judge Merchan told him no.
The jury's always going to believe in the credibility of the judge, of course. And so it's really dangerous to get on the bad side of a judge. You don't want the jury thinking, the judge is against you. And so the judge has to do everything he can to look fair. And as you say, the judge has been trying to do that in this case, except, Trump's been out there saying how biased the judge is. And the jury's not going to hear that, of course, but the jury's going to see, is Trump fighting with the judge? Are his lawyers fighting with the judge? And of course, they look at that.
And the other thing, as I should note, that right now the judge, Todd Blanche, and Michael Cohen are wearing headphones. These are not Apple AirPods. I should note these are really old school Walkman style headphones that they have to put on, which just speaks to, that it does feel like the 1980s sometimes in that courtroom. They're listening as the questioning is turned to Cohen's podcast. There's a plethora of information for the defense here to use because Cohen has spoken so often and so repeatedly in public about Donald Trump. And Blanche is pulling up a clip of Cohen's podcast, Mea Culpa, in which Cohen gives his reaction to the indictment. And Trump did not put on the headphones, I should note, to listen to this clip. David, the other thing is right now, the other people in that courtroom, it's not just the jury. There's also like 12 members of Congress in there. Does the jury notice them? Do they pay attention to who's filling up the two rows behind the defendant?
Absolutely. They see everything that goes on in that courtroom. And this is a strategy that was employed by the great Edward Bennett Williams back when he represented a Teamsters boss, and he brought in Joe Louis to hug his client in front of the jury. And Williams was a master of this. Of course, everybody loved Joe Louis. He was the heavyweight champion. Everyone loved the guy. I'm not sure bringing in Matt Gaetz is the same as bringing in Joe Louis. Matt Gaetz is not beloved by everybody. And But the jury's going to see it, and they're going to take it into account like they do every little thing that happens in that courtroom.
David, Oscar, Markus, great to have you. Thank you for joining. And right now, Cohen, on that podcast that they are playing, said